trusted name in news, Fox News, every half hour, only on 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
WOCA.
All right, 25 minutes before 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Tuesday morning. If you work in law enforcement, let me just say thank you for what you have chosen to do with your life. And let me just tell you that you are in my prayers, and you certainly were last night. I think we know this already as a society, that we have bad people, and you can't have a society with bad people without somebody who is willing to do something about those bad people. And sometimes it's not bad people, it's foolish people or careless people, or it's Mother Nature herself. But lots of times we need help, and the ones who show up to provide that help are those who've chosen to serve us through law enforcement or fire rescue, as well as the military. I don't want to leave anybody out. I mean, you could go on and on. You could say the nurses, etc. But I wanted to talk about law enforcement specifically this morning. With limited time, because yesterday, as you know, we had a bomb scare here at the mall, and we were told to evacuate. And the mall was completely under the control of the police. They took over.
Yes.
They came here with their vehicles, with their bomb-sniffing dogs. And when I say police, just for the sake of the conversation, understand that I mean all the agencies, okay? Because in yesterday's case, the sheriff's office was here, the police were here, and Ocala Fire Rescue was here. Last year, when the Florida Highway Patrol lost one of their female officers in that accident on the interstate, I watched in the production room the funeral services for her. And if you are in law enforcement, I'll just say it again, I mean, you have a job that you have to be thanked for, and I certainly hope you are. So I have an article here that I guess we'll just kind of read it and then comment every now and then. I'll just take a breather, and Robin, you pipe in if you have something to say. Callers, if you want to say something, go ahead. I have a brother who served as a police officer with the Air Force for 20 years in the military police. My dad worked as a New York City police officer. I have many friends and some relatives. I believe I have a cousin. I think it was in the FBI, I think. I don't know. I don't know everybody's job. And that's part of it. They don't ever talk about it.
Yeah.
You don't ever hear about it. You have somebody in radio and everybody hears about it because I guess it's the nature of this, what we do. But anyway, so there's an article written by Timothy Roofer, because I would rather focus on the heroes than on the idiots. I have audio. I'm not going to play it. I have audio from the phone calls that were made to the police department, and it's wonderful that the police will share that with us. But why give that guy any moment of airtime? I would rather share with you what it's like to be a police officer through the article.
Yeah.
So this is what he says. He's a criminology careers expert. He says, working as a police officer brings on a range of emotions. It can leave you feeling satisfied, rewarded, sad, disgruntled, lonely, and fulfilled, all in the same shift. Keep in mind, yesterday when some of these police officers were here, they had just earlier in the day been at a double homicide, a suicide murder.
Yeah.
2 young people no longer with us because the guy decides they shouldn't live and kills her and then himself.
Yeah. Thank God the children weren't there.
Go back to the article. If you've ever wondered what it's like to work in law enforcement, take a look at the day in the life of a police officer. The alarm wakes you up from your long sleep or nap, sometimes not so long, depending on what your shift is. You grab a quick shower and get the sleep out, and give yourself a thorough shave so your sergeant doesn't ding you on your inspection. As you get dressed, your whole demeanor changes. You become quiet, stern, and thoughtful. As you prepare yourself mentally for whatever the day is going to bring, you stop being you. Slowly, as you strap on your ballistic vest, tie your boots, zip up your uniform shirt, you become officer you. As you wrap your utility belt around your waist, the transformation is complete. You kiss your kids and your spouse goodnight or goodbye. again, depending on what shift you're on, and step outside and into just another day on the job. You sit down in your patrol car, turn the ignition, and reach for your police radio. You key the microphone and advise your dispatcher that you're 10-8 in service and ready for duty. Now, I'm not sure if 10-8 is every jurisdiction. I know different police officers use different codes, but that's the article. And I don't know where this guy lives. As you pull out of your driveway and onto the main road, you spot a car with a headlight missing. You pull the vehicle over, get out of your car, and cautiously approach. You wonder whether this will be your last traffic stop ever as you get closer to the violator's car. You introduce yourself and inform the driver that you pulled him over because his headlight is out. You let him know it's a potential safety hazard because it affects not only his ability to see, but other drivers' ability to see his car. You issue a warning for faulty equipment and remind him to get it fixed and wish him a safe day. Back in your patrol car, your dispatcher advises you that there's a serious traffic crash with injuries and entrapment near your location. You inform him that you're 1051, 1018, which translates to me you're en route with lights and sirens. When you arrive on the scene, you see chaos. 2 vehicles seem to be welded together. The coolant and the oil that was spilled in the crash is burning and boiling off the still hot engines, transforming what was once 2 distinct vehicles into one massive steaming pile of twisted metal.
Yeah.
Though you've been trained to give first aid and basic life support, you are thankful that an ambulance is already on the scene. You see paramedics talking to a driver who is bloodied, while firefighters work fervently to cut a way into the vehicle to get the other person out. There's a driver in the other car as well, but he's not moving. No one's trying to help him either. A crowd is gathering as you talk to one of the paramedics and confirm what you already know, that the crash involved a fatality. You call for a traffic homicide investigator before you begin to cordon off the scene with crime scene tape. Out of respect for the deceased, you grab a fire blanket out of your first aid bag and drape it over the dead person's car. You gather witnesses, take statements, and work to identify drivers. When the traffic homicide investigator arrives, you brief her and provide the information you've obtained so far. She takes over the investigation, and you offer to provide whatever assistance she needs. You're then relieved of that, and the investigation continues. But your task now is to inform the deceased next of kin. In this case, it's the wife who stays home to care for 2 small children. You show up at her door and ring the doorbell. She answers the door and stares at you as you stand there with your hat in your hand. She knows why you're there, and you know she knows. There's no easy way to tell her. You say, "Ma'am, I'm very sorry to tell you that your husband has been killed in a car crash." Naturally, she cries while you do your best not to. You offer to make phone calls for her and to stay with her until a family member or a minister or a friend can be there with her. After you've made sure that the new widow has been cared for, you get back into your patrol car and inform dispatch of the time you made notification. You advise that you're 1098. In other words, the task is completed, and that you're back 10-8. Worn out and thirsty from the day so far, you stop at a gas station to get a cup of coffee. You avoid donut shops at all costs. You don't want to play into that stereotype. You drive through the parking lot and scope the place out one time to make sure you're not walking blindly into a robbery. As soon as you walk in the door, the clerk greets you and asks you to deal with some teenagers who are causing a disturbance in the store. And you never do get your coffee. After you leave the gas station, you find a vacant parking lot to catch up on reports. You park someplace where people can see you if they need help, and it doesn't take long before someone does. As they approach, you get out of your car so they can't surprise you while you're sitting down. You're always thinking tactically. As it turns out, they just need directions, which you are more than happy to provide. You just get back to your report writing when another car pulls up. You get back out of your car and meet an elderly woman who's frightened because her door was open when she got home and she remembers shutting it and locking it. She asks you to come to her house and make sure it's safe and that no one's broken in. When you get into the house, you ask her to stay outside by her car as you check the doors for any signs of breaking in. You notice scrape marks on the rear door and it appears someone tampered with the lock. You draw your handgun and enter the house to clear it, wondering if it will be the last thing you do. Finding no one in the house, you ask the woman to come in and see if anything is missing. You caution her not to touch anything as you process the scene, and you call for a crime scene technician. She gives you a list of what she is missing. You tell her you'll do everything you can to help her get her things back and make sure she's safe and secure before you leave the scene to enter evidence into the property room at the station and write your report. She offers you $20 for your trouble, but you decline. She insists on paying you for your services despite the fact that you tell her you're already getting paid. She continues to press the issue, so you ask her to donate it to a charity of her choice instead. You drop off the evidence at the station and realize it's almost time for your shift to end. After you finish the required paperwork, you get back in your car and start on your way home. As you're pulling into your neighborhood, you notice a car in front of you weaving within its lane, slowing down, speeding up, and braking erratically. You become concerned that the driver is either impaired, tired, or sick. Whatever the case, you know it requires further investigation. Despite the fact that your shift ended 15 minutes ago, you pull the car over. When you approach the vehicle, you're greeted by a strong and distinct odor of alcoholic beverage. The driver's eyes are bloodshot and watery. His speech is slurred, even though you're already late getting home. And even though it will take another 3 hours before you've finished with the paperwork, you know your job and your duty. So after the driver performs poorly on the field sobriety exercises, you make an arrest. After you've left your paperwork at the jail, you make your way home. Fortunately, this time you don't come across any other issues. You walk in the front door 4 hours later than you were supposed to. Depending on your shift, your dinner's long gone, cold, or your family has already had breakfast and left to start their days. You take off your uniform and slowly transform back into yourself. Tired from a long day, you lay down and go to sleep. Your last thoughts are about how happy you are to have the opportunity to be a police officer. That's what the life of a police officer is like. So thank you for doing what you do. We certainly appreciate you. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Clouds will break for some sun later today. There may be a shower in spots this afternoon along the coast. The high 79 along the coast, 84 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy. Again, there may be a shower along the coast with a low of 61 inland, 68 at the coast. For tomorrow, a warm day with times of clouds and sun. There can be a couple of showers during the morning hours along the coast. The high tomorrow, 82 at the coast, 86 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my
too.
seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Hi, Matt Wilkerson here, your mobile Verizon rep. But not just here, I'll deliver the phone to you in your home. While I'm there, I'll only sell you what you need and I'll personalize it to you. Want to have me get you connected? Then call me at 352-528-0020. I even offer unlimited home phone service for just $20 per month. Just call me, your mobile Verizon rep, at 352-528-0020.
Veterans are the foundation upon which our freedom is built. Listen to The Source, WOCA, each Thursday at 9 a.m. to Veterans News with Hank Whittier from Vets Helping Vets. You'll hear tributes, information on veterans issues, and stories that will make you laugh, cry, and feel proud. Veterans News always focuses on the military, past and present, and on our first responders. Veterans News is brought to you each week by Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and Nursery, keeping you blooming since 1952.
A xylophone. Sounds dreamy.
Yeah, they don't make them like this anymore, Robin. I'm shipping it to the Musical Historical Society.
And you're packing it like that?
What, this won't work?
Why don't you take it to the Personal Service Center at the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street in Ocala? Just look for the yellow signs.
Great idea. That'll save me a lot of time.
The passing of time.
Personal Service Center makes sending packages easy.
And quick. Call 789-6683.
For the Personal Service Center. Yeah, thank you. You know, if I was out there, Robin, I'd be listening to us just because I think we usually cheer people up.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if I cheered anybody up with that last piece. I just think that was an important thing to. It's important really to understand what people do for a living.
Yes.
Yesterday we had some ladies in here that work with child abuse children, children who've been abused, and what a job they have,
Yeah.
What a job people have, and the least of us is us right here. We are the least of us, and our job is to simply get the word out when people are doing great things and people are doing good things, and and quite often the news media is about talking about the bad things and reporting the bad news, which I guess is part of our duty. We have to. But hey, I have enough time in the morning that I can spare some time to let you know about the heroes. And that is why we have a veteran show on Thursdays.
Yes.
And that is why we do what we do. That's why we invite people in here who are doing great things in this community, whether they're nurses or doctors or even entertainers. Entertainers do a great service. It's an important part of our whole society, the whole fabric of this society.
Yes.
The people we try to invite. But I refuse to give airtime, read that as glory, to a dope.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what the dope did and then move on. I'm not going to keep going on with it.
No.
Anyway, just to recap what that was supposed to be about, that last segment, just thank you. If you're a police officer, thank you for what you're doing. And that applies to all of you, whether you're a firefighter. I apologize for calling everybody police officers, first responders, whatever, but you're all, top notch in my book. You all deserve a salute and a handshake and
yes, you do.
And a wonderful life and retirement. And for those who are the spouses, whether the wife is the police officer or the husband is, the spouse also has to be a special person, really.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you know the way I do this show, I like to break it up into segments. So I do have a different segment, and I thought this was rather cool. Albert Einstein's birthday was on the 14th of this month. I don't know how old he would have been. I do have his year, 1879, so whatever that would work out to. But anyway, he had a theory. And his theory is being used now by scientists. And rather than try to explain it to you, I have a tape of a scientist explaining it. And I got this from the New York Times. Ready?
Yes.
100 years ago, Albert Einstein announced a new theory of gravity. Einstein suggested that matter and energy distort space and time. That meant that gravity would even bend light rays, pulling them into curved paths around massive objects like the sun or a black hole. The solar eclipse in 1919 dramatically confirmed his theory. Stars behind the sun appeared to shift from their fixed positions, their rays of starlight bent slightly by the sun's mass. A century later, astronomers have learned to use even larger objects, galaxies, or even clusters of galaxies to magnify distant stars that would otherwise be lost in the fog of time. How these cosmic telescopes work depends on how the stars are aligned. A distant star might appear several times, like pearls in a pattern called an Einstein cross. Recently, astronomers using the Hubble Space Telescope discovered an Einstein cross of a star exploding in a spiral galaxy far, far away. Light from the explosion is bent and magnified around a massive cluster of galaxies. Because the light in each image takes different paths around the galaxy, we see the same supernova exploding again and again. Astronomers think images of this same supernova might have been visible in a different spot in the sky 20 years ago, and they expect it to reappear in another place 10 years from now. Stars or galaxies not quite centered behind a gravitational lens may be spun into long arcing filaments. But when a star is perfectly aligned behind a lens, it can appear as a complete halo, an Einstein ring. Einstein thought his theory of gravity was so beautiful that he once told a student that if it didn't work out, he would feel sorry for the Lord. He didn't have to worry. Einstein would have been 136 this month.
There you go.
The stars keep lighting candles for him. Happy birthday, Albert.
Isn't that great?
Yep.
So in other words, they see a supernova, they see a star exploding in the sky 20 years ago. And now they see it again this year. They see the exact same thing again this year because the actual explosion, which happened billions of years ago, or whatever, has been taking that long for the light to reach us so that we could see it. And because there's this gigantic galaxy between that star and us, the light gets bent and slowed down more than once.
Yeah.
Sometimes on the left side, sometimes on the right side, sometimes on the top, sometimes on the bottom. If you look at it as a big clock, it could be at the 5 o'clock position, could be at the 10 o'clock position. It's in all the positions.
Right.
And so it reaches us, and we get to observe, scientists get to observe the star exploding way out there somewhere. And then they see the exact same thing 20 years later. Now they're saying 10 years from now, they'll see it again.
Yeah.
Isn't that an amazing thing?
It is. It's absolutely amazing.
And that they even know this. I mean, when you think about the fact that they can look out into the sky with the Hubble telescope or even with a regular telescope with your naked eye.
Yeah.
You know, I remember as a kid, we would brag about how far we could see. You know, you could see I could see a football field away, or I could see a mile away. I could see. I used to say, you know, I can see all the way to the sun. And of course they would say, "Oh, come on, everybody can see the sun." I said, well, I can see it. I can see stars. They're really far away. Because I was a nerd. I was a geek. I understood things were really, really far away. I was a science geek, which is probably why this story attracted me. But I think it's very cool. And the notion, now here's one that's going to boggle your mind. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Okay, I can't. This is so fascinating to me. I love this stuff.
Not from the Earth so much because the Earth is just reflecting light, but from our sun. Our sun could literally be a star in the sky.
Exactly.
Our sun could be a star in the sky. Because if billions of years ago our sun was elsewhere in this universe, and that light is traveling and being bent around by large gravitational pulls, whether they're black holes or whatever, or entire galaxies are treat light just as if they were one mass, even though there's lots of things in the galaxy. Isn't that a fascinating thing?
It's absolutely fascinating.
Which means that when light is behind a large gravitational body, you literally can see that light more than once, which is why when you stand behind me, people think they have double vision. They see you twice because my large mass magnifies you twice. Thank you for laughing. Thank you for laughing. I thought maybe you were really buying that. But the rest of it is true. The rest of it is true.
Yes.
Just what you'd like.
No, this is absolutely fascinating. I love everything about Einstein, and it goes way back
All right.
to all the other.
It was the most unusual day yesterday, wasn't it?
It was.
All right, so there's when Galen comes on in just a little bit, I want to talk to him about snorkeling. Get back down to earth and then have some fun.
Good.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. This is Jackie Naylor, by the way.
Is that who this is? You didn't think it was Diana Krall.
All right, we'll be right back.
As an old native-born Californian would say, it's a most unusual day. There's a most unusual sky. Not a sign of a cloud passing by.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Lillian Wu. An Airbus packed with passengers crashing in the French Alps. No survivors likely, according to